So the basic difference between the law of attraction and goals is, well, what would you say? Law of attraction is just the beginning of a goal?
The goal is what you're trying to attract.
But it's so much more.
But there's so much more. There's an old book written after the economic depression of 1929 called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It's called Think and Grow Rich, and it's about making money because it's the depression. Everyone is in need of money, and it's a terrible economic time. But it's not about making money. And there he has what he calls a magnetic center. You know, we develop this magnetism to our goal, which is the law of attraction principle. He talks about it. But it is not about making money. It is about transforming your mind such that you change the way your being is, that you're willing to do what it takes to get your goal. So the way I would use the concept of law of attraction and goals merely as a focal point to change my mind, to develop devotion, focus, willing to sacrifice, to make my character into someone who can be a true leader, who can be reliable, responsible, and totally emotionally free. But when you're flying an airplane, if you don't have a destination, you're just going to go in circles till you run out of fuel, crash, burn, and die. So the whole idea of a goal in law of attraction in the material sense, for me, is to give me a focal point to work towards for the purpose of totally transforming my being, my spiritual being, the essence of my personality, my character, such that I will become a better human being than I was when I began. Now, when you have that as your motivation, your real goal, then you can make any fortune, any business, any material achievement, because you have something that is substantial and eternal. If your goal is something that you can say, I want this, and you achieve it, what will happen? Now I've achieved my goal, and I'm still 30, 40, 50 years old. I've done what I've always wanted. Now what? What do you think will happen to you?
Well, you either, one, set a new goal, or two, you lose motivation.
Usually it's number two.
Yeah.
Because you've lost motivation, because your goal was short-sighted, material, limited. It didn't have a reason for the goal. Humans like definite answers. I know where it ends. But the essence of a human being is eternal. It doesn't end. And it will not be satisfied or willing to commit itself to a goal that ends, because then it becomes stagnant. And that is not good. So whatever your goal may be, or you want to attract, its motivation, if you want to really succeed and succeed well, its motivation must be eternal, infinite, something that never will be achieved, because that way you will forever have an endless supply of rocket fuel to keep your life forever flying very powerfully and strong. And that is a key factor in making the whole law of attraction concept work. But generally, it's marketed as have your goal to get your goal. Your subconscious isn't going to let you do that, because it doesn't want to just sit there and... It's like retiring. You know, people retire and they very quickly get sick, old, and die after they retire, and all their whole life was just so I could retire, but they didn't have a plan of what they would do after. So that's a problem. We need to put that in. What's it for? And if it's just so I could sit on the beach, it's not enough, because what's that for? You see, then we almost get into the law of karma concept of cause and effect. I want the money so that I can retire. I want to retire so that I can travel the world. I want to travel the world so that I can experience different cultures. I want to experience different cultures so I can come back home and help people learn about the world. and change their lives. Now I've got the motivation to go all those steps back to make the money because I want to see people happier, to have a better life. And that is eternal because if they have a better life, their children will, and their children will. So when you have a goal that is eternal, that gives us the passion, and it is something the universe, the angels, whatever you may call them or perceive them to be, can say, there's one worth working for, because if we're eternal and he's got a short-sighted goal, well, we're going to be out of work pretty soon too. So that's not so interesting. But we're eternal, so we like a goal that continues for generations because we'll have constant work. So that's a very important factor.